I don't have a costume this year. So, yeah. I also don't have the urge to say who wants to see Jesus, because, that joke's dead, unfortunately. It worked once when I had the axe and the Captain America mask, which I can't even find either of those right now. So, for now, this is all you're going to get. So, with that said, hey guys, Brady here. I know it's been a while. I'm sorry. Listen, I've got a life. You got a life. We all have a life. YouTube is not the most important thing in the whole world. So, with that said, happy Halloween! I always try to get one of these out every year, despite me clearly not wanting to make as many videos as I used to. And the last time I made a video on this channel was the most disastrous thing I've ever uploaded. I'm not even going to talk about it. Let's just get into it. So what could I talk about this Halloween? Could I talk about Venom Let There Be Carnage, which is a sequel to the 2018 Venom movie that I've already taken a look at? That would be fun to review, I guess. I mean, I guess I get to talk about Woody Harrelson being a dramatic piece of filth. Not in real life. He's excellent in real life. He was in Zombieland. And I could also talk about, Venom and his silly one-liners and his surprisingly very much raspier voice than usual. I mean, he went from talking like this to talking like this! Or I could talk about Crimson Peak, a movie so boring and not scary at all that it kind of makes me question why it got 70% on Rotten Tomatoes, and for that matter, how it managed to get Tom Hiddleston, aka Loki, in the movie as well. How's Loki Season 2 for those who are watching it right now? Hope it's interesting. Or I could do something completely different and not talk about anything scary at all. I'm gonna go with the third option, because honestly, hey, y'all want something original? Okay, let's talk about the 80s. Yay, nobody's clapping. I don't have an audience. What do you think of when you think of 80s cartoons? I know that's a weird question to ask, especially in this spooky month of October, but what do you think of? Do you think of He-Man? Or its sister series, She-Ra, which got its own Netflix reboot, its own heavily LGBTQ-related Netflix reboot, by DreamWorks. And whereas She-Ra was treated like the lesbian queen of the cartooniverse in Netflix's realm, and then you have He-Man, who was treated by Kevin Smith. So, yeah. What do you think of the stuff that was meant to sell toys, like He-Man, and Thundercats, and Ninja Turtles as well, and also My Little Pony? And then there's the unfortunate story, the sad, sad story of the Care Bears. Now, I'm not trying to say that Care Bears is a bad property. In fact, it also got its own reboot show, which I believe is on HBO Max or Max. But, Care Bears is not as special as the ones that I just listed. Whereas shows like He-Man or Thundercats or Ninja Turtles, they had a following, a fan base, people who watched them. Care Bears was different. It had the cartoon show. People watched it, but not as much as the previous cartoons that I just said. However, unlike MLP and Power Rangers, which was in the even 80s, and Ninja Turtles as well, Care Bears got a movie. Now, every cartoon show has to have a movie, of course. I mean, there was a Dudley Do-Right cartoon, not a Dudley Do-Right live-action movie, and also the Mr. Magoo movie by Disney featuring the late Leslie Nielsen. It's kind of crap. Both of those are kind of crap. Don't watch those, please. Care Bears got its own animated movie, its own cinematic animated opus. And it's not good. So, happy Halloween, folks. We're talking about the Care Bears movie, which is also a movie I've always wanted to talk about on the show, despite me not having that much interest in the Care Bears or the brand that is the Care Bears. Now, I'm sure most of you have seen the Doug Walker Nostalgia Critic review of the Care Bears movie, and the Care Bears movie 2, and Care Bears in Wonderland, and the Care Bears Nutcracker, which are all available on YouTube for your viewing pleasure, or your viewing disdain, because, Nostalgia Critic. But I'm going to talk about the original Care Bears movie, released in 1985. 1985, the glorious year when Careless Whisper was topping the Billboard Hot 100, Back to the Future was getting released in theaters, and then the Nintendo Entertainment System was also making headlines after the crash. Um, and in the middle there was the Care Bears movie, I guess. So let's talk about it. The movie begins with probably the whitest orphanage I've ever seen in my life, and trust me, I could say this as a Caucasian guy. It's kind of racist. Then we get introduced to the narrator named Mr. Cherrywood, I think. And he goes, "Gather around, children, gather around in a circle, or I guess cuddle up on your beds, going like this. I'm going to tell you about the most mystical beings in the universe, the Care Bears." And he literally says that with that mouth. And I think Doug made a similar joke to mine, where he said, "I touched half of these children and I'm okay with that." So basically, he made him out to be a pedophile. But then we get introduced to the wondrous universe known as Carolot, where the Care Bears live, of course, flying on their cloud cars and those rainbows everywhere. Woohoo! Listen, man, I can get all that stuff except for the cloud cars from Star versus the Forces of Evil, which is much more interesting, honestly, compared to the Care Bears. And there's a song that plays. It's called, I don't know what it's called, but it sounds like the laziest thing to come out of the 80s since Ebony and Ivory by Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder. And the singer sounds so unbelievably disinterested. I think Doug mentioned this in his review too. It sounds like she's somewhat sleep deprived or something like that, where it's like, "Carolette, it's a thing, I guess. That I need to go to bed." And I think the lyrics go, "Carolot, it's a place where you can be riding on a cloud. Carolot, it's a rainbow fantasy for laughing out loud." The same year as The Power of Love, ladies and gentlemen. Man, I can't wait to cover the 1985 on the Music Channel. So, and then we get introduced to the main Care Bear characters as we all know them. You know, you have Grumpy Bear and Rainbow Bear and Lucky Bear. And listen, man, the Care Bears are not like the Smurfs. They don't have, like, you know, we got Papa Smurf, Brainy Smurf, Clumsy Smurf, Smurfette. It makes sense. They have names. Care Bears is like something, adjective, or describing word, bear. Everyone is a bear. They're all colorful, and then you see this one bear who's clearly having the time of his life, while the one of the bears, I guess, is fixing the cloud car, but it kind of looks like he's doing something else. You watch the movie. Watch the movie, please. It's disturbing. But then we also get introduced to two human characters who don't care at all. And as for the Care Bears movie, that's a big no-no. So, here come the Care Bears. Two of them, at least. Two, of course, do the fun Care Bear things that they do. It's like, "Hi, I'm Friendship Bear, and this is Secret Bear. We're Care Bears." And it's like, "What do you want? Listen, bitch. You better listen to the Care Bears, or else they're gonna care for you." That sentence made very little sense. It's like, "Nicholas, you want to be an aviator pilot." "Yeah. How'd you know that?" And yeah, the faces that I'm making perfectly describe the animation. It really, truly does. But then we also get introduced to the pseudo villain, I guess. I think his name is Nicholas or something like that. The kid's name is something else. The boy kid. And he's like, "Nicholas, get the house of cards ready for my magic show." And he fails at doing that. And it's like, "But wait, I can prove to you." And then he closes the door. I was like, "You better get your act straight together, boy." Excuse me, that was very bad. But then we also, oh man, there's a lot of characters that I'm introducing. We also get introduced to the actual villain, a book which sounds like this and moves like that. Seriously, the animation is just like that. It's classic, yes, but it's too sparkly for my taste, of course. Technicolor vomit, as Doug described it. Okay. And also we should probably talk about the songs. whereas mentioning the actual core plots of the film would not interest you, let's talk about the technical side of things. The songs. For instance, one of the songs literally goes, "Do you have a house made all out of wood?" The end. That should be the end of the review. But no, that's not the end. Whereas the Care Bears do find other animals that aren't bears. There's a monkey, there's a lion, there's a raccoon, there's a rabbit, and I think those characters were introduced into the cartoon show as well, which, fair enough, I guess. I mean, you gotta have more new characters. um, I mean, all sorts of cartoons introduce new characters. But anyways, any other important plot points? Oh yeah, Nicholas is a bad boy. It's like Rocktole Laconicus, and then he turns the kids into douchebags in the crowd. It's like, oh no, the Care Bears are gonna. The Care-a-Lot starts crumbling down, and everybody starts not caring, and it's like, oh no, the Careometer is going down. Dude, I'm not making any of this up. I swear I'm not. And it's like the kid is given this key, and it's like, pay a lot of close attention. That made no sense. Pay close attention to this key. It's important for the finale. And yes, it is important, actually. It's like, we gotta close the book. Do you have the key? Yes, I do, actually. So use the key. And then they lock up the villain. However, that's the abridged version. What do you say we talk about the actual plot? No, nobody cares. It's the freaking Care Bears movie, even though you should care because it's the Care Bears movie. But I don't. And they also have this pirate ship that goes across a water, which is weird considering that shouldn't the water be clouds as well? Give MLP some credit. At the very least, they actually kind of explain the magical stuff, even like friendship is magic or something like that. Come on, at least give them credit for that. Whereas Care Bears is like, oh, very much little sense is made in this world. Oh, and by the way, the moral of the story is that they trap the character in the book, and then everybody cares. Hooray! Happy ending. Yeah. Are your kids entertained? No, probably not. So that was my abridged review of the Care Bears movie. Abridged in quotes because I have not seen it in a good while since probably last year. So this review is a little late, 1 year late, and this will probably be the shortest video I put out in a good long while. So hey, but yeah, the Care Bears movie is not that good. But you know what other animated film came out that year? The Black Cauldron. Only one of the biggest Disney bombs of all time. And it didn't do well. Of course, like I said, it's a bomb. But honestly, I would have rather watched The Black Cauldron. If I was a kid in the 80s, which I was not, I'm a 2000s kid. If I was a kid in the 80s, I would have totally gone to see friggin' The Black Cauldron and shit. I would have done that instead of watching Technicolor garbage like the Care Bears movie. But The Black Cauldron lost to the Care Bears movie because well, it makes sense. I mean, obviously, it's the Care Bears. They gotta make money. But, you know, I really hope that there's an alternative universe where the Black Cauldron ended up winning over the Care Bears movie. That would be interesting. Invent those. Dang it. Just invent a machine that can go to another universe. Maybe I can finally see what No, we're not going there, Brady. Come on. But that was my abridged look at the Care Bears movie. So, I hope you enjoyed this Halloween special. Listen, go watch Tamara Just Saw's review of the MLP movie. She reviewed it in October, I think. She said it's the most scariest thing in the world, but no. So, yes. This has been a video. I will probably take about 3 more months off before I make another one. Who knows? Maybe I'll make a Billboard list, a best and worst list of I think I might actually do one in a couple of months. Who knows? And Christmas videos too. Yay! I'm gonna be on fire for some strange reason. Anyways, catch y'all later for another fun-filled journey. Sayonara, peeps. Take care.